Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Breathing, releasing, letting go. Jeffery Combs in crimson and gold here today. It is Tuesday, April 9th, year of our Lord, 2024. Welcome to what originally was called the More Heart and Talent Mindset call is now the Golden Mastermind Podcast. Alicia, welcome to Facebook Live this afternoon. The Tuesday GMS Facebook Live. GMS, acronym for Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Golden meaning the golden rule. There's the golden ruler. Golden rule. Mastermind is one or more coming together of like mind for a common cause. So welcome this afternoon. Alicia says, hello, good to have you here with me, Alicia. You are first on today's Facebook Live. A beautiful day in Northern California, which is actually a contradiction because it's not actually Northern California. It is Central California, referred to as Northern California. So welcome here. It's good to be here with you. Topic for today's Facebook Live is inner peace, and is a great topic for those of you who are seeking that space, inner peace. And inner peace is gained by letting go of anxiety, fear, and doubt, letting go of stories about the future hasn't happened, letting go specifically of shame and guilt, and then letting go of the anger, hate, resentment, frustration, disappointment, abandonment, rejection, overwhelmed feelings, grief, apathy, and pride. Many people use the term get rid of. Well, get rid of is in the anger family. The objective is not to get rid of. The objective is to create a separation between the feelings. Here's the events right there, and here's the feelings. Instead of them being like this, they're more like this. Then you can view them objectively as you practice this mechanism of letting go. Letting go allows you to not personalize situations. It allows you to breathe, release, and let go. It allows you not to have a story about the outcome that has not happened. Wayne D. Clark, good to be here with you, Wayne. Wayne has been following me for 11 years. So thank you, Wayne, for being here this afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you in July, Wayne. That would be an absolute honor. Wayne is the manager of the superstar musician Dave Gibson. Dave Gibson, for those of you who do not know who Dave is, Dave wrote 6 number one country songs, or he wrote 6 top 40 hits in the country charts, and a top hit that Joe Diffie wrote, one of my favorite songs, Ships That Do Not Come In. Wayne, thank you for that introduction to Dave Gibson last year. So good to be here with you this afternoon. Topic for today's Facebook Live is this right here, inner peace. Let me get right there, inner peace. Now that is my handwritten syllabus. Farzad, good to see you this afternoon. And Valerie, always good to see you. And then here is the email that goes out on every Monday. So inner peace means in self. So that's higher self. Lower self is like this. So this is your lower self. It's up here in your fight or flight. Your higher self is here. It's in your consciousness. There's the pineal gland. That's the connection to God. That's the ocular gland that allows you to be in the quantum field. The knowledge that's in the universe, the knowledge that God delivers, the knowledge, the providence, so you can receive on command. And in that situation, there's no gap and a delay between your communication and the outcome. So when someone asks you a question in higher consciousness, you're able to answer in trust. You trust yourself. You're able to answer in knowing. You know the answer. You answer in peace. You're not concerned with the outcome, and you're here and you're now. You're breathing, releasing, and letting go, and you're not holding on to trauma bonds and panic patterns. Inner peace comes from letting go of production anxiety. If you're a sales professional, or you feel under the gun, or you're under a lot of pressure, or you put pressure on yourself. So if you look up at the ceiling, there's no pressure up there. You're not under any pressure. That is the illusion. That is the control that you hold on to avoid being your best self. Inner peace comes from letting go of the feelings that lead you to being an addict. and an emotional addict. I did a Zoom call last night for Brittany Carr's team, And I had very good favorable response about that afterwards. Many people reaching out to me, asking me about the correlation between trauma and overwhelmed feelings and why we do what we do and the cause that creates the effect and why we hold on to the feelings we hold on to. I grew up in a household where I was never good enough. I was in a position of a lot of performance anxiety. I was put in a position to perform for a very high standard with the target that constantly moved. So this target that constantly moved put me in a position that I was never good enough. Repressed feelings. So repressed feelings are the feelings that are stuffed down. And if you hold on to weight, there's a high probability that the weight you're holding on to is a direct reflection of the repressed feelings. Suppressed feelings are the ones that are more overt. They're out here. These are the ones that you sabotage yourself in over and over. The repressed feelings are the feelings of denial. These are the feelings that were so challenging and they were so difficult. And those are the feelings of sexual abuse and extreme shame and criticism. And you've stuffed and buried these feelings. Feelings buried alive never die. That's a topic of a book that I've read several times throughout my career. And so the repressed feelings are the ones, and they can also, like for me, they were rage. They were rage and they were hate and they were resentment. And resentment is an abiding anger. I wrote a book called The Anger Factor in 2015, and I cover that topic of resentment. And resentment is the other side of guilt, because if you've been guilted into doing situations and you are codependent and you tend to over-obligate, you tend to over-obligate and you tend to do more for others and you tend to seek other people's approval and you don't get that approval, then it's very common to resent the situation and not feel like nobody's giving you the love. So inner peace is going to come from letting go of these feelings one day at a time, creating an emotional muscle and creating a tolerance to consciousness rather than having a tolerance for anxiety, fear, and doubt. Josh Moore has joined us this afternoon. Josh, go ahead and list your website where people can follow you. Josh is someone I highly recommend in the financial field and the financial world, and he's also a very, very skilled tactician at letting go of stuffed feelings. And for those of you who are joining me here this afternoon, Sherry, good to see you. Christy, good to see you. Michael, good to see you. Let me see who else is here. Ashley Cox has joined me. Thank you, Ashley. Roger's been following me for well over 20 plus years. Farzad's been following me for multiple years, and Alicia's been following me for a couple of years here. So thank you for being here this afternoon. Topic for today's Facebook Live is inner peace. Inner peace is accessed through both hemispheres of your brain. The left brain, which is the analytical egoic brain. Your right brain is the creative, intuitive brain. When you bring the two together, you become one with. And then the vagus nerve that connects to your gut. When you are in your body, when you're in your peace, now you're in high levels of consciousness. Any level of consciousness over 200 cycles a second or hertz, that's how energy is calibrated and calculated. So higher consciousness means you're oscillating, vibrating telepathically in a clear message. If you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt, you're in a mixed message. And in selling, branding, writing, it's the mixed message is, hi, please join me, but don't. I'm not good enough. So that's the duality, and there's no inner peace in that because that's inner turmoil. And inner turmoil is brought on by events that your body holds on to, and you may not even know how your body's holding on to these events, but that's what creates the fight or flight mechanism. So fight or flight looks like this. Fight or flight is an overcompensation that the body goes into to protect itself, because inside here is your reptilian brain, and the reptilian brain sees lions and tigers, and it sees danger, and it sees, oh my God, outcomes that haven't happened. And it's scary. And it's where worry is. That's the reptilian brain. The limbic brain, the creative brain, the intuitive brain is what sees love and joy and bliss. And that's when you're in your body, you're in your brain and your body in one body, and you're operating in the flow. That's prospero, or in the flow. And the ego will chronically say, yeah, but. And so that's the inner turmoil. In inner peace, there is no yeah, but, because there is no doubt. Your lowest self that most of society lives in is doubt. It's the foot's on the dock and the foot's on the boat, and that is procrastination. I wrote a best-selling book called The Procrastination Cure. That was the second version of it that became a bestseller and was every Barnes & Noble for many, many years. You can buy that on my website, and I break down for this for those who really want to understand. Procrastinare is also the mixed message. Procrastinate, to avoid. Procrastination is deep anxiety about success and failure with confusion somewhere in the middle of which one I'm the most concerned over. And the concern that most people have is they worry about, can I keep success? They worry about, can I lead people? They worry about, can I hold on to it? Can I massage it? Can I control it? Well, when you have control issues, what you control is the payoff. You control the outcome you seek to avoid to fulfill the feeling, and that is not crazy. That is called the payoff. And when you have a better understanding of that razor's edge of the payoff, because when you begin to be in command of your emotions, you're not trying to control the outcome. When you're in command of your emotions, you're able to adapt, adjust, you're able to speak freely, you're not worried about making mistakes, getting in trouble, saying the wrong thing, being a burden. You're not worried about bothering someone. You're not worried about being rejected, abandoned, neglected. You're in your body. You're in that space. And when you're in that space in inner peace, you are free. You're free of the ties that bind. You're free of worrying about what your mother is going to say if you don't want to attend an event. And when you attend an event because you think you should, because you're worried that you're going to hurt someone's feelings, or you're worried that you're going to get criticized, you've given your power away. When you realize in your own inner peace that you're not responsible for other people's feelings, I'll say that again. Here's the affirmation. I am not responsible for other people's feelings. When you realize that, you are casting the burden of that you have drug around with you, the 10-foot grandfather clock that your family made you promise to wear for the rest of your life so you could silently suffer like they did in their trauma bond, and that you can struggle like they did, so that you can be a noble struggler and wave the noble strugglers hit parade flag. That's Stuart Wilde content from the book 3 Keys of Empowerment, which I highly recommend. So let's look at point number 1. On your inner critic, an inner peace, point number 1 is silence your inner critic. So your inner critic is that space that you continue to hold on to, that you over and over continue to tell yourself silently, consciously, and unconsciously how you are not good enough. So when you live in that space, you will recreate situations. You will actually sabotage your successes, or you'll avoid your success because you're not sure if you can handle it. Or you'll sabotage your success to fulfill your feelings. Sir Galahad shows up, Queen Guinevere shows up, the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, the job opportunity, the $3 million listing that you could sell, and somehow you manage to either avoid it or sabotage it because you're not sure if you can handle that success. Because your ego believes it's easier to struggle. Actually, it's not. It takes a lot more effort to tiptoe quietly through life, arrive at your grave safely, and live the greatest pain, the pain of regret. Anxiety, fear, and doubt, if you're following along in the syllabus. Those are the energies below courage. Those are the energies of low consciousness. And so those emotions that drive anxiety, fear, and specifically doubt are anger, hate, resentment, disappointment, frustration, abandonment, rejection, overwhelmed feelings, grief, apathy, and pride. Those are the emotions that the lower self-ego will hold on to so you can feel in doubt and avoid your success and be in inner turmoil. In the duality, you're either going to be in inner peace or inner turmoil, and it's your absolute choice. And the minute your mouth opens and moves and says, that's hard, that's difficult, I'm not sure if, yeah, but, well, now you're validating, justifying, explaining why you will continue to create your payoff. When you reach the place where the pain is great enough, where you're at a place where I can't live like this, when you come to the resolution, when your resolve hits that space that I can be that, I am good enough, I can achieve what other people do, I am good enough. When you can let go of the trauma bonds of your family, when you can let go of the trauma bonds of narcissistic parents, people in your circle of influence, when you can learn to let people go, then you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. And there is no yeah, but in it. I'm from a small, little, tiny town like this, 7,500 people in Southwest Iowa. No one mentored me. No one gave me a handout. No one gave me a hand up. I learned the good old-fashioned way by surrendering. And I surrendered to, at that point, a higher power, which I choose to call God. And I begin that surrender process on December 18th, 1988, right before my 32nd birthday. So that equals 35 plus years of sobriety, one day at a time over a long life and a long career of surrendering while still experiencing emotional relapses without relapsing back into alcohol, drugs, compulsive debting, pathological lying, and serial cheating. I was not aware of how codependent I was. For the first 20 years of my sobriety, I began to really address that in 2008 and 2009. And on December 6, 2009, I crossed the bridge into codependent recovery and have let go of enabling, over-obligating, doing more for specific others in intimate relationships than I would do for myself, so I could be disappointed, frustrated, and feel abandoned and or rejected. It's an evolution of understanding inner peace, and gaining that peace can come from meditation, exercise, it can come from steam baths, saunas, it can come from cold baths, cold showers. These are all situations outside of your body that can enhance that feeling. The inner peace really comes from you and your connection. And when you start to let go and start to really accept that you're good enough, when you begin to live in that inner peace and let go of the drama that you live in, when you let go of the trauma you hold on to, when you start to clean up the chaos that's around you, when you start to live in a much more emotionally disciplined body, then you step into the quantum healing process of being no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. It's very liberating for you to cross that bridge of the one day of emotional sobriety, which becomes recovery, and then higher consciousness. That is the trifecta. It's sobriety, recovery, and consciousness. And as you access these three concurrently at one time, you'll change who and what you attract. If you own a business that requires salespeople, sales professionals, people who build a business with you, collaboration, customers, clients, you'll begin to notice, provided you stay in a relaxed body in emotional sobriety, you will begin to notice that they show up differently. They'll begin to show up differently, and will also begin to show up it'll go from play check, which is amateur, to paycheck, which is professional. I've coached many people who've had the quantum leap financially. I myself have had it, and it can happen to you. It could be you right here today. It could begin to happen that your dialogue with asking, deserving, and receiving, your dialogue with prosperity, the way you communicate about it. But if you tell yourself that money is very hard, if you tell yourself how hard situations are, if you continue to edify how broken down you are, if you continue to edify and you continue to go, yeah, but, you'll have challenges quantumly healing yourself. When you are holistic, naturopathic, when you let go of the toxic agenda, when you understand what the agenda is, when you stop participating in their chessboard, the black and white chessboard of FM, that's an organization that goes back, and it's shaped like this, and it has it has 2 3s in it, 33 and a third. When you understand what all that symbolism, that symbology, and when you understand what trauma-based mind control is, you'll volunteer to no longer play this game. You'll say goodbye. You'll say, when you volunteer to no longer be the lower self, the ego of struggle, when you volunteer that and you actually buy into it, when you accept it, when you're committed, when you cross the bridge, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. It is absolutely amazing. I once knew a man, I actually still know him, he's alive. At 59 years old, he became clean and sober. At 62 years old, he started off in the network marketing industry in a company called, I'll have to think of the company, but at 62 years old, he started his first network marketing company. And then I met him in 1999, first time, then I met him again in 2002, and he started in a startup company in 2003. Now he's in his 90s, and he's made almost $50 million in his career. I mean, he didn't start until 62, didn't get sober until he's 59. An amazing story of perseverance of a man who was a late bloomer in his life and absolutely went on to become a multi-millionaire. And he was a butcher in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Jimmy the Butcher. I've known Jimmy for many, many years. The process of change is a commitment. And when you're committed to your change, you'll start to access the inner peace. When you commit to that process, what does it look like? It looks like one day at a time, you have better boundaries. It looks like one day at a time, you have improved discipline. It looks like one day at a time, you actually have a map for your day. You have a system, a routine you begin to live in, rather than winging it, rather than just flying by the seat of your pants, rather than waiting till the last minute and trying to pull it off. When you let go of the cause that creates the effect and you really commit to this process, you will begin to see the results, the providence that you are seeking to be able to live the life by design that you so much deserve. When you live in the solution, that means instead of edifying the problem, talking about the problem, instead of magnifying the problem, you focus on the solution. You stop wasting time on the wrong people. You stop going to the wrong places. You stop devoting your energy where it doesn't serve you, and you devote your energy, your love, your joy, and your bliss to yourself, empowering yourself, and then the empowerment of others. And there's a true joy in that, rather than the dread, the anxiety, the fear. When you let go of being exhausted, when you let go of being overwhelmed, when you start to be in your space one day at a time. I've lived it. I know what it's like to be on that side versus here right now. I used to believe I couldn't live without alcohol. I would talk myself into that. I would relapse every single day. I would start with a good intention and have a poor delivery, and I would end up blacked out. And that was the last 2 years of my alcoholic consumption. I was a blackout drinker. I was a fall down drunk. I forgot how to eat. I ended up weighing 114 pounds. And ended up in a county hospital in Ceres, Ceres, California. It's a small town right on the edge of Modesto, California. And I ended up in a place that's no longer even an entity. At the time, it was called Recovery Resources. And it was a free clinic in the wing of the county hospital. And I definitely was living in the problem. When I surrendered, I began to live in the solution. And surrendering cannot be explained. It has to be experienced. Surrendering is not the white flag. Surrendering is not giving up. Surrendering is giving in. It's like you give in to the fact and you admit that you have emotional challenges, that you have challenges that you keep recreating over and over. When you step into that, empower yourself, it is amazing who you can meet, who you can greet. The very first AA meeting I went to in Stockton, California, where I lived, I met a man named Eddie. He was chairing the meeting. He was 2 years clean and sober. And I saw Eddie in a restaurant just 3 months ago with my wife. And he gave me the fist tap and said, "How you doing, brother?" Eddie has 37 years of sobriety, and I have 35. And there was a woman in that room named Sarah. She was 22 years old. She had 1 month of sobriety, and she had 2 months of sobriety, and I had one. I just come out of treatment, and Sarah became his wife, and I saw her with him. That's the miracle of sobriety when you begin to live it. That emotional sobriety, letting go of the food you stuff, letting go of the other outer addictions, stepping into a business that you can absolutely manifest and own, being the man or the woman that you're capable of, being the mother or the father, being that citizen to your country, being that citizen to your God, being that man or woman of influence and affluence, being the man or woman that you're capable of, and accessing the inner peace. My name is Jeffrey Combs. I'm the president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Thank you very much for being here this afternoon. I'll be back on Facebook Live at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have a great afternoon.